What's going on, guys? Stefan, S&E's Garage. Today we're going to be dropping the lower unit here on this BF225 Honda. This is a 2005 model year, and we need to go ahead and inspect our impeller and replace as necessary. We went ahead and ordered a whole impeller kit. I'll show you that in a little bit. It's up in the boat. Basically, we're going to drop it out, pull the impeller, inspect it, and take it from there. So we need to start by removing all of these bolts here. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's going to be one here in the center. Now, a lot of people like to pull the prop. I personally don't. I leave the prop on, and I kind of just drop the whole thing in like a bucket, more or less. So we're going to go ahead and do that. The nice thing here about these Hondas is that there's no gear selector up under the power head that you have to mess with, like on some of the Johnson and some of the Evinrude motors, and even some of the Yamahas, actually. It's just a little gear that sits into a shaft, basically, right back here, so that you don't have to do anything with that. It just drops right out and makes it nice and easy. So let's go ahead and start pulling those bolts. So these bolts around here are all going to be 14 millimeters. We're going to go ahead and pull them out. And I believe this is a 14 as well. Yes, it is. Once you get this bolt with that cover off, you're going to have a 19 locking nut right under there. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. For these, I'm going to go ahead and grab my 14 millimeter ratcheting wrench, because the ratchet was getting like kind of wedged between the bolt and this skeg here. So, alright guys, so we got our lower unit out here. Our gear shift selector kind of fought us a little bit, and then I think the drive shaft did a little bit as well. We just had to hit it, you'll see here and here with the dead blow hammer, kind of worked it back and forth until it came out. Like I said, we just kind of sit it in a bucket like this and let it balance itself. So now we're going to go ahead and start taking this water pump apart. We're going to take these 4 bolts off. They also look like they might be 14s. No, they're not 14s, they're probably 12s. This is a Honda, so I'm assuming everything's metric. Yep, those are 12s. So we're going to go ahead and get them off, and then we're going to go ahead and grab our new kit and see what it came with. Alright guys, so our old impeller really doesn't even look that bad. You can see it here. There's some slight cracking in some of these veins here. The main reason I'm doing this is because this is a new to me boat, and we haven't done this yet. We ran it one season last year. And I just want to make sure it's good. So we have to take this keyway here out. This is important. If your new kit doesn't come with one, you need to make sure you have that. Otherwise, when you put the water pump in, it's not going to spin. And you kind of need it to spin. So let's go ahead. Let's grab our kit, see what it comes with. I'm pretty sure I have a new bottom plate here. So we're going to have to go ahead and gently pry this up. We're going to have to work it side to side because these pins here corrode a little bit and they kind of swell up and make it hard to get this off. We're going to go ahead and see what that kit comes with. It looks like I have a little bit of gear oil in this area, and some of this stuff might need to be resealed. I'm not sure. My gear oil was a little milky last year, but we'll check it all out. Guys, this is the part number to the kit we purchased. If I can find this on Amazon, I'll go ahead and post it in the description down below. If not, just go to your Honda dealer and buy it. But it looks like it's going to come with everything we need. It's going to come with this metal collar that sits inside the plastic housing. It's going to come with the plastic housing itself. It's going to come with the 4 collars here that go into the plastic housing. It's going to come with a rubber grommet here that goes up on the top of the housing. Nice new bolts, new washers. It's going to come with all these seals, which are nice. It's going to come with this green housing, and then it's also going to come with this metal plate down here like I was mentioning. So we're going to go ahead and really, pull this thing apart, get this off, clean it up real nice, and start putting some of this stuff together. Alright guys, so we're here putting our new basically pump housing together, and I just wanted to show you what I was doing here. So here's our new impeller. I went ahead and I put this metal collar in, and I went ahead and put these 4 metal collars in, if you will. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use some XPS anti-corrosive lubricant, and we're going to spray excuse me, the inside of this housing here, so that when we fire this thing up, it's not a dry start on this, because we don't want that. You want this thing to be lubricated. And now we basically have to work these fingers into place to match that. So these need to be curved this way and kind of pushed in to the housing. And this is more or less what we ended up with. You'll see it's in there the exact same way. We can go ahead and get our O-ring here, which I want to say is probably this guy. Put that into place and then figure out where all the rest of these parts go. Guys, so we got our metal plate off here, and it looks like this hasn't been off in a very, very long time because it's rather corroded under here, and this gasket is like sticking to it. So we're going to use a razor blade here, get as much of this off as we can, and then we're going to clean it up here with this wire brush on my drill attachment and see what we come up with. And then I think this kit that I bought has O-rings for under this that we're going to go ahead and pull this piece off and inspect that as well. So we decided to go ahead and take this plate off here and work on this inside. I'm really glad I took this off because this seal here is beat, and I really have a feeling that this is how water was getting into my gear case. So because these seals here look pretty good. They don't look beat up. They still feel pretty soft. So we're going to go ahead and bring this inside, clean it up as best as we can, get these seals out. Like I said, we have new ones here. They are right here. It's the circle one and the weird ass looking one, if you will. We're going to go ahead, like I said, go in the garage, clean this up. Then we'll come out here, clean this up. We just want to be as careful here as we can to not get any crap into the top of this bearing. So we're going to check that and make sure everything's good, clean this up as best we can. Alright guys, well, we went over to our Honda dealer and picked up a new, they call this a water pump housing assembly, a lower housing, because even after I cleaned this one up, it was pretty pitted and I didn't want to take a chance, and this thing was pretty cheap. It was like 70 bucks. So I went ahead, like I said, I picked that up. I installed the O-rings in this, so that's ready to go. I did buy 2 new seals here that we have to go ahead and press into this. And I jammed some paper towels here into the top of this bearing, and I cleaned this surface here, which is where these O-rings are basically going to live. So we're just going to get some grease this all up, slap this back on. I did buy seals for this thing here too, but I'm not sure. I think a lot of that gear oil from here is coming from this breather, so I'm going to see how easy this comes apart. If it comes apart easy, sure, let's do it. If not, I don't want to break that piece of plastic, but let's see what happens. Alright guys, so we went ahead and used a 30mm socket to go ahead and install our new oil/water seal here. It's basically a double stacked seal. You'll see your old one here. Basically, to remove these, if you are going to be reusing your housing, is you're just going to get under here with a flathead screwdriver and pry them out. Just being careful to, you know, not nick the housing or anything. But like I said, we replaced our housing, so we just went ahead and stuck our gears in, or our seals in. And I am actually missing the second seal for this gear shifter, so I'm not going to mess with it right now. We're going to put it in the water at the end of this week and run it for about a week or two, and then I'll you know, check the gear oil at that point, and if it's still a little wonky, I'll know that I have to go ahead and replace that seal as well. So we'll see what happens. Alright guys, so we went ahead and greased up our gear selector shaft here. We went ahead and put some grease on this mating surface here, and like I said, we have our new lower water pump assembly here, so we're going to go ahead, and just very carefully slide this into place here, like so. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and install our 10mm bolt that's going to hold that in. Alright guys, so we actually had to run back out and grab these 2 dowels. There's one here and one here. Our new housing didn't have them in there, and I had to go back to the marina and pick them up. Because if you look at the old housing, there was no way we were getting them out. But we're, you know, back on track now, and we're going to go ahead. Our next part here is to put this metal plate here down into place. Alright guys, so we went ahead and put a dab of grease on this shaft and then stuck our keyway on there here for this impeller. And we did go ahead and just put a little bit of extra grease here on the impeller so it's not dry when we start it. So now we're just going to go ahead and slide this down on the shaft and make sure we align that slot right there with our keyway. Alright guys, so we have our impeller housing here on. We're going to go ahead and torque all 4 of these bolts down to 14 foot-pounds. Now we were having an issue here where our gear selector shaft here kept sliding out of the bottom of the motor. So what I did is I slid it all the way up into place, and then I went ahead and just stuck a pair of needle nose vice grips on there to keep it from dropping out. So that will stay in place while we do this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and grab my torque wrench. I'm going to torque these down, and then I'm going to go ahead and put some lube here on this drive shaft. Here's where it rides up on this bushing up in here. I do have a new bushing to put in here, but this one doesn't really look that bad right now, so we're going to leave it alone for the time being. But yeah, we're going to grease that up, slide everything together. Alright guys, so we went ahead, slid this up into place. We got 2 of our bolts in. You'll see we have one here, one there, and then we're just starting another one. So before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and pull this vice grip here, that way it's not impeding anything. And we're going to go ahead and finish putting this together. We're going to go ahead, put the rest of our bolts in, and then we're going to torque them down to spec. As soon as I figure out what that spec is, I will update. Alright guys, so from what I can tell, these all get torqued to 27 foot-pounds. So we are going to go ahead and do that. We have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our 7th one here. So let's get the torque wrench and torque them down. Alright guys, we got our rabbit ears here on. We're going to go ahead, hop in the boat, start it up. We're going to make sure we have forward and reverse gears. And we're going to make sure that our telltale over here squirts out some water. And then we'll be done. You'll see we have our telltale squirting out water here. That tells me that our impeller is pumping. Going to forward. Okay, you'll see our prop is spinning forward. Let's go ahead. See, now we have reverse, and everything here looks good. So if this video helped you do your impeller and your water pump housing on your Honda BF225, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.